So that brings us to our next guest. April is Stress Awareness Month, and apparently Philadelphia needs a little help unwinding. So joining us now is Dr. Alok Trivedi, who is a human behavior expert. So good morning, Dr. Alok. Thanks so much for joining us.
Hey, Nick, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
We appreciate it. So what are some of the leading causes of stress in the United States that you find in your practice?
Well, there's no question that, the psychology, stress, the inability to adapt to changing environment. I've said for many years that stress is just the inability to change to an environment that's around us. And when we get stressed out, I would say work, relationships, money, these are the three biggest, and our health kind of suffers because of that, I think.
Right. We tend to focus on certain issues when we are stressed, which is a good point. So you mentioned the stress that we might all be dealing with a little bit more because of the pandemic. You have a 5-step formula that you say can actually reduce stress. Can you just tell us a little about it and explain how it works?
Yeah, absolutely. So I call it the 5-step formula. I call it SERPA. And
okay.
SERPA stands for slow down, right? I recommend you slow down, take a deep breath. Take a deep breath in for 7, hold for 7, and let it out for 7. What this is going to do, it's going to help you relax and just kind of get you aware of what's going on. Next thing I would recommend you do highly is you think of something inspirational, right? It's so difficult sometimes when we sit and say to ourselves that, I'm stressed, but think of the oceans, maybe think of the mountains, think of Sunnyvale, California, for crying out loud, right?
Yeah,
something
right.
It could be, why not, right? It's a beautiful place, why not? Third thing I would recommend highly is you reframe your thoughts. And what that means is that you don't avoid your thoughts, you reframe them. So if something's really, really stressful to you, and ask yourself the question, is this really as severe as I'm making it? Is it as dangerous as I'm making it? Because our body is just responding to this stress. Fourth, I'm going to ask you really to ask yourself and get present. What that means is simple. Just get your feet, plant them on the ground, and stop thinking. Because sometimes we'll think, right? And our brains will go into the present moment, in the past or the future, versus staying grounded in the present. And finally, I think that the most important thing we can actually do to things, believe it or not, Nick, it's to say no and avoid the situations again and again, because we keep putting ourselves in the situations that cause us more and more stress.
Right. That is such good advice. And the important thing about what you just said in those tips and the 5-step plan is that this is a short process. It doesn't take very long to do all of those things and work yourself through that, right? Is that correct? It's like basically less than a minute time.
It can be less than a minute. Like when you're trained and you can do this automatically, it can take you 10 seconds, right? You just take a deep breath in, get grounded, understand, okay, reframe your thoughts. You can do all of this really, really fast. It doesn't have to take you, 10, 15 minutes. It can take you less than a minute when you retrain it. So SERPA, again, slow down, inspire, think of something inspirational, reframe your thoughts, get to the present moment, and avoid things that are causing you chaos.
Yeah, great advice. And sometimes we've seen on the other end of that when we cannot handle that stress correctly, and sometimes it becomes an unhealthy situation. Certainly, you say it can be linked to immune system weaknesses, right? Correct me if I'm wrong on that.
There's no question. Stress stress leads to chronic disease. We know this, right? When we're eating, when we eat, we're stressed out. If we've had a bad day, we'll reach for the ice cream jar, or we'll eat junky foods that are not for our best interest. And we're always trying to change our diet to be better and have a better health system. But our immune system depends on our brains and our mental health. To be able to think about that and have our immune system function correctly is all about making sure that our mind stays calm, clear, and able to adapt to a stressful environment, for sure.
And I like that, and it's almost a method of kind of retraining our way of dealing with stress. Is that not right? Like, explain us through there, maybe just kind of making this part of our normal routine and dealing with these types of adversarial situations in a more calm method, or more calm manner, I should say.
It's completely true, right, Nick? And the way you're saying is perfect, right? If you stop and think about it, we've all been taught. We all know that we should eat better, we should do things better, and we have to research how to eat better and do things better for ourselves. But sometimes we forget that, how we think also needs to be taught and learned, because maybe our thought processes are taking us down a different road. So it is a retraining. Just like we have to retrain our diet sometimes, we have to retrain our exercise routines sometimes, our lifestyle. Thinking also, and our mental health also sometimes need to be reframed and retrained as well.
Absolutely. Learned behavior. So, Dr. Trivedi, where can people go to get more information on what you do?
You can just go to dralok.net. That's dralok.net. That's the easiest way to find me. And I'm all over the internet if you're interested. I'd love to help you in any way I can.
Yeah, very good advice, and something we could all use as we deal with this pandemic, because we're still, finding ourselves dealing with a lot of stress from day to day because of everything that's happened in the last 12 months or so.
Nope.
All right. Thank you so much for your time, Dr. Alok. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Nick. I appreciate you.
You got it. Well, still ahead, the union